Savvy Giving Gal podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Turilli-Smith. Today we have an extraordinary guest who perfectly embodies the spirit of creativity, resilience, and generosity. Christina Flach is a renowned celebrity makeup artist, entrepreneur, and a dynamic host of I'm Too Busy TV. As the CEO and a founder of Pretty Girl Makeup, she has worked with some of the biggest names in Hollywood and top brands in the beauty industry, showcasing her incredible talent and eye for beauty. Beyond her professional accomplishments, Christina is a devoted mother, philanthropist, and passionate advocate for empowering women. Her inspiring journey of balancing a high-profile career with motherhood and her commitment to giving back to her community will leave you feeling uplifted and motivated. Get ready to dive into Christina's world as she shares her behind-the-scenes stories from working with A-list celebrities, her secrets to building a successful beauty brand, and how she uses her platform to make a difference. Christina, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, Melissa. Thanks for having me today. Wow, that was so nice.
I'm so excited you're here. It's such an honor.
I'm excited to be here.
I want to start with kind of a fun topic.
Sure.
I would love to know how you became a celebrity makeup artist.
Well, I became a makeup artist first and then the celebrity makeup artist. I didn't just get to dive in with the celebrity.
Right.
I worked on a bunch of cousins and friends and family. Mm-hmm. My mom was my first grown up when she had cancer. Mm-hmm. She was going out with my dad and I was trying to make her look like her normal self. And I had very limited makeup skills and she had very little makeup, but we managed to make her look, but most importantly, feel like the best version of her at that time after going through chemo and radiation. So that's part of my job that I really love is transforming people from how they normally look to making them look like they didn't even realize how they could look. And it's a lot of it is, it's not just the outer part of the makeup, it's how you make people feel. And I think I've been successful as a celebrity makeup artist because I make people feel comfortable and I really, because I've had a million children, I know how to make kids. Yeah, I have a lot of kids. And so I know how to make people feel comfortable and good and tend to them. And so that's why I think I have been successful with, dealing with celebrities.
I think it's so important that we feel good on the inside, just as much as we feel good when we're walking around on the outside. Can you share with the guests like a memorable moment from working with, an A-list celebrity or on one of these like major brand campaigns where you've really had to tap into that, like feel good on the inside, but really feel good on the outside?
My gosh, I've had so many incredible moments, but I have a new client right now, Zach Posen. He's head of All Gap and he's an amazing designer. And so we just shot Vogue. It's just fun getting that intimate time with your clients. Like I go to Zach's house in San Francisco and I start with my clients massaging their hands with like aromatherapy oil. And that really gets them into a nice, calm, happy place. And it also kind of connects you to them. And if they're stressed or whatever, they feel good. So we start with that. Let's see. I've done campaigns. I've been with Tyler Florence for 17 years. He's a celebrity chef here in the Bay Area. And we've done great food truck race. We've done Visa commercials. We've done, all kinds of different ads. It's been fun. Hillary Swank, Rita Moreno. They've been amazing. And then I've been blessed to work with all the different major networks and go to the Super Bowl 2 years in a row working there. And then with Gucci, Louis Vuitton, that's like, what makeup artist isn't going to be thrilled? But the funniest part about working with them, they give such detailed instructions from Europe as to how the makeup is to look. And it's minimal. They don't want to know about my makeup skills. They just want the model to look, clean, obviously clean makeup, but very minimal. And that's an art in itself, using very little makeup to make someone look the best they can.
Yeah, that is definitely hard to do.
It's more than one would think.
I think so, because when I try to go minimum, how now that's kind of the new thing is like no makeup. It doesn't really work. It's really hard.
It is hard.
It's really hard.
Well, they want the focus to be on the fashion and not on that. They don't want the model to be a distraction.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that. I want to go back to the hand massaging because it really shows that you care about your clients' even if they are a celebrity, so clearly, they're important clients, but I'm sure you do that for every.
I do. I do it for everyone.
Client,
I do. And I have clients that come to me to learn how to do their own makeup. They want, I offer makeup consultations for people. And, I treat, I had a client come over yesterday. We ordered some makeup and she was so sweet and, brought me a present and, I make people, it's part of the deal. You can only do one thing in life. It's how people leave you feeling. They either feel really good or they think, oh, that person's not so nice. And,
right.
I love having these interactions with people and that they're happy and they're content. I think with the hand massaging, I just started that actually with Tyler a long, long time ago. He had gotten off a flight. He had a headache. He was tired. And I'm just like, I just started massaging his hand with some lotion. And it was like the headache went away. And now he makes jokes like, oh, you give the best hand jobs in Hollywood. I go, you can't say that out loud.
You can't really say that out loud.
No, but it's funny. Like it's our joke. But
yeah.
So, I do that. And it just, I want them to go out in front of the camera looking and feeling good. I have a lot of clients. I work with Fox a lot, Bloomberg, Food Network. They're in front of a camera. And if they're not in a good mood or they have a headache or whatever, I have to figure out in 3 seconds when I start on my client, do they want quiet? Do they want to talk? What do they want? And I have to be very respectful of them. Some people want to chit chat and, talk, and others want, they need to study their lines or whatever. So I just have to be very respectful of it's about them. It is not about me. Yeah. And that's another thing that's kind of hard. As a makeup artist, you want people to look like the best versions of themselves. But women in particular are very attached to how they do their makeup. So I've had, for example, Maria Bartiromo, she's on Fox in the morning. She has her makeup done a certain way. And we were down in Beverly Hills and I did it slightly different. And she's like, I know that New York loves the way you did my makeup today, but I want you to do it a little darker. Like, because it's distracting to them. Because if she's looking in the monitor and she doesn't like how she sees it or it feels uncomfortable.
Right.
That's a problem. So I'm on California Live as well. I'm a beauty expert on NBC. And we did a beauty challenge, a beauty dare challenge. And what that was, if you wear a lot of makeup, take it down 5 notches. If you don't wear much, take it up. And how do you feel having made that change? And it was so interesting to hear people's response. It was the people that wore a ton of makeup and had to tone it down felt naked and bare and exposed. They felt very insecure. They felt really weird. Yeah. And then the ones that wore, very little and took it up, they were like, oh, wow. They were surprised how great they looked and how much more comfortable they felt. So I always ask people, try and do that a couple times and see how you feel. And why do you feel that way?
Yeah.
What about you? Have you ever tried to do that? Do you ever change your makeup up? Or
No, I have to be really honest. I am a person who likes consistency. I like the way I do things, and it's very hard for me to change.
What's your birth sign?
I'm a Pisces.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So I have not done that, but I do really envy women who can change it up all the time, because it's a vulnerable place to be when you're not in your regular clothes or your regular makeup. And so it's hard to feel your best when you're in that vulnerable, place. So, you always emphasize the importance of feeling good from the inside out. What do you personally do for self-care, or what advice would you give other women who...
This is my favorite question.
Oh, good.
It really is, because self-care as a mother, it's always everybody else and we're last. And it actually needs to be the opposite. Self-care is not selfish. It actually enables you, if you are rested and you've worked out and you've eaten and you've had, you're hydrated, you are going to be able to take much better care of everybody else. So giving yourself that time to exercise every day, even if it's 20, it's just what you said, consistency. Exercise it's a lot in your head, how you feel. Going for a walk. It doesn't need to be, I have to go to a gym for 1 hour. No, like today I have a gym in my house and I did, 20 minutes on the elliptical and on the bike, and I did some Pilates and lifted some weights. It was 25 minutes, but it's fine. I did it. And so now I have that, the guilt isn't there. I don't have to think about, oh God, I got to go home and go work out. It's done. 10 minutes, whatever you can do. And then, as a mom, you have to be very disciplined. I am very structured as well. I wake up at the same time and I drink water with lemon. I have my green juice. I have my tea, my protein. I plan ahead a lot. Like, I hear people saying, oh, well, I travel so much I can't work out or I can't diet. Well, that's bullshit. Yeah. It really is, because when I'm traveling for work, all I have to do is take care of my client, sleep, work out, and eat. Like, that's it. And so you just have to decide, I'm going to eat clean and just make healthy choices. Because for me, I don't want to have to be feeling guilty or gaining weight. I can't be talking about beauty and wellness and fashion if I'm a disheveled, overweight mess.
Yeah, you definitely have to walk the walk and talk
Absolutely.
the talk,
But I feel like a better version of me. I want to inspire people to be the best they can be. And so beauty from the inside out came from, I had a model one time where I was working on a campaign for Mark and Graham, and the model came in and her skin was a disaster. Like, I'm a really good makeup artist, but I can only do so much. Yeah. You know what I mean? When there's like tumor-sized acne all over the face, and I told her, I'm like, look, it's Friday. We have to shoot next Monday and Tuesday. You, this weekend, are going to just drink a ton of celery juice, anti-inflammatory, and drink a lot of water. And you're not going to have alcohol or sugar. You are going to sleep and get yourself back on. Check. And you know what? She did it. Thank God. And then by Monday, her skin had totally calmed down. And it makes my job easier when someone's skin is not an absolute mess. Right. And it then, because it trickles down, then the photographer's got to do all kinds of, post, production that they don't want to have to do. So,
but what a gift that is that you gave her, that information. I mean, she doesn't want to feel that way either.
No, of course not.
Maybe after that weekend, she said to herself, I don't want to feel the way I felt on Friday. I want to feel the way I felt when I worked with Christina on Tuesday. So I'm going to implement some of these things that she shared with me. And that went beyond the makeup,
Definitely.
beyond making her look good on the outside.
Yeah. And and it wasn't like I was mean or anything to her. I was trying, she knew I was there to help her. And, I think you can say anything to anyone with a kind tone when they know that you're trying to help them. They may not want to hear it.
Right.
But, offer them some guidance. Because honestly, a lot of people they don't really know about nutrition. And it really, being a makeup artist is not all about the makeup.
Right.
It's a lot, but it's not everything. So if I can get people, and if I can inspire people to eat well and to rest, people don't realize how important sleep is.
Oh, I'm crazy about my sleep.
Right? It's everything.
It is.
It really is. It's anti-aging for sure. And so, if we can get people to eat well and sleep and be hydrated, a lot of people don't drink enough water. So we've done segments on that on NBC of getting, having mason jars ready with lemon and blueberry and, different fruit so it tastes good, or throw, a tea bag in there to drink your water, getting in the habit of every time you get in the car, you have a water bottle. It's all these things are just new habits that people need to implement into their life, and they will feel better.
Yeah, and it takes time. It takes time for something to become a habit. And so I think that, the more we practice those things, even sleep, the more we practice getting more sleep, the more energy we'll have for, all of the other things in our life. And, something that's super important to me is having the time in my life to give back and making the time in my life to give back. Feeling good inside and out is so important to me, and that's why I love shopping eCosmetics. They offer the best in beauty from all of the top brands with great prices, free shipping, and 100% satisfaction guaranteed. It's my go-to for everything beauty. Head over to ecosmetics.com and use my code SAVVY25, that's SAVVY25 at checkout to get 25% off your purchase. I'd like to talk a little bit about the tragedy in your life and how you transform that into this platform for purpose and helping others with sepsis.
So my husband, Ken Flach, who was former #1 tennis player in the world, with his partner Rob Seguso, had been playing golf, and he got sick, and we called Kaiser, and he had pneumonia. They wouldn't see him. And so he got sepsis. He wasn't diagnosed with the right medicine. They didn't give him the right medicine. They wouldn't see him. So what they did give him was cough medicine with codeine and an inhaler and no antibiotic to counter that. So, we think cough medicine with codeine, oh, it's so great. No, it's incredibly dangerous, because if you do have infection in your body and you have cough medicine with codeine without an antibiotic, an infection is going to grow like a wildfire, because your breathing slows down. And so the infection just grows at a crazy rate. So by the time I got him to the hospital 12 hours later, he was already septic, and they put him under, and he didn't regain consciousness again, and he died of sepsis. So we had no idea what sepsis was. I ended up suing Kaiser for, malpractice, because they didn't see him. They misdiagnosed. They gave him the wrong medicine and everything. And it was 4.5 years of a very not pleasant time, but it was something I felt like I needed to do, because I'm like, you are not going to kill my husband and not get the wrath of me. You're just, and then I have heard, I cannot tell you how many hundreds and hundreds of people have reached out after they found out that I won my lawsuit, to figure out, what they can do, because they'd had a similar experience. And so after that, I started raising awareness. The Sepsis Alliance contacted me and asked if I would be willing to raise awareness for sepsis. And I feel that, I was married to someone famous, and it was important that if I could use his celebrity to help others, like absolutely. And then I started at the Northern Lights School in Oakland. I started an educational fund in his name, Ken Flach Fund. And then I have one for my son, Bo, who passed away. I have the Baby Bo Fund. And so my youngest son, Ben, who is a golfer, all my kids golf, he has raised in the last 8 years over $200,000.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, for underprivileged kids to go to private school.
That's fantastic. Through all that pain, it is so hard to find this kind of purpose. Most people never do. Where do you think you got that strength to not, you're such a lovely, positive woman. Where did that come from? Because most people, after having these horrible things happen, they can't kind of come out of the darkness. Can you speak to that?
Yeah. Well, I think because, I have other children. Yeah. And I can't just lose my shit. I can't. Yeah. Because it affects them too much. So, my daughter came home from London after Ken died, and I was just not my positive, normal, lovely self. I was really angry and scared and hurt and sad. I was a million things. And she just said, Mommy, you have to be grateful you had him at all. You're not guaranteed anything.
Wow. That's pretty powerful.
I know. It really was. And she's just like, you know what? Think of what you have, not what you lost. And it's, it's easy to say that now because it's been 7 years. But I think her having said that to me, but I also feel that there's always someone worse off than you. And it made me feel good to help other people. Yes. So raising awareness so someone else wouldn't die made me feel good. And then raising money for the kids at the school makes me feel good. Right. It's not just me writing a check. My kids see, all of my kids have gone to the school and helped out with the golf tournament or with the kids, with Teddy Bear Tea. They've all helped in some way. And so I think for them, to me, it's the greatest thing to give them the gift of philanthropy. I don't know if they're going to continue helping with this school, but they'll find another charity that means a lot to them. And so happiness is a choice. You can decide to be happy. You can decide to be miserable. And I had a vision. I was on a hike one day by myself, and I could hear my husband so clearly telling me that it is so hard for him to look down on me sad and crying, and he can't do anything. He's like, I can't kiss you. I can't yank your ponytail. I can't make you laugh, Yeah. And I just thought, oh my God, how would I feel if I was looking down on my kids or my husband and I couldn't comfort them? So we're not honoring. I just felt like, okay, I get it. I'm not honoring you by being miserable and angry, even though I know he's kind of a Larry David and would like me to be miserable and thinking of him only. Yes. But I think for my kids as well, I don't want them to have more sadness in their life than they've already had, losing their brother and their stepdad, who they were incredibly close with. The best thing I can do to honor him is to raise awareness for sepsis and to help, these kids get a great education and make the world a better place. So, and then I started a garden with my friend at the Ed McGuire School in Mill Valley. We started an outdoor garden and classroom named after my son, Bo. And it's the Bo Friedman Outdoor Classroom and Garden. And so I feel nutrition and education are obviously very important to me. And I feel that if kids see that, planting a seed will grow a carrot and then you can eat it. And what you can do science experiments, you can cook with it, you can eat it. Like what you could do, they're going to be so much more inclined as they go through their, teenage years, their adulthood, into making healthy food choices. So, and I feel like those are the kind of things that, as parents, we can show our kids how to eat well. When I see these parents that go, my kid only eats pizza and chicken nuggets and carrots, like, no, that's all you give them. So right. I feel like if we can show kids a different opportunity of, raising money for others, eating well, exercising, they're going to have a healthier, happier life.
You're a beautiful example of that, because I do think it starts with the parents or starts with an adult that creates an opportunity for either their children or for these children to have a garden and to go outside and to see, because they may never, ever be able to work in a garden or see how to have actual carrots that come out of the ground and how they taste. And so I really commend you. And I think that we need more people in the world, because it is hard to come through such a dark time and be doing all of these things. So I love that you made that choice, because you're really touching the lives of so many people, and you are raising future philanthropists who in their communities will do amazing things like you did because you were strong enough to.
Well, it's a choice. And I feel that, we all have a choice, and I don't choose to be miserable. Believe me, I have my hard days where it's like sad, and then that was another thing I had to learn. Like, okay, everything was worse if I got too hungry or too tired or didn't work out or didn't think of things I'm grateful for. So I've learned to just kind of self-soothe, which I didn't really know how or felt like I needed to do before. But now I know that self-care really helped me deal with my grieving process. And, you do have to be grateful for what you have. We're not entitled to anything. We think we have a lifetime with someone. We don't. So it's really important. Time is a really big deal to me. And so the greatest gift I get from anyone is time, and so I wish that for people. And if you don't like your job, do something different. And I know it's like, people will say, well, it's so easy for her to say, look at her life. My life hasn't always been fantastic. Right. COVID happened. My husband died. He left me a disaster financially, which I had to clear up. I had to do like 3 different jobs. I did a consulting job on top of being a makeup artist and running my own company. So, I've had to do a lot of work that I didn't expect to do, but I had to do it. And you don't really, there's this Whitney Houston song that I love. I didn't know my own strength. That is so true. Yes. You don't know how strong you are until you actually need to be.
Hey, travel lovers, it's Melissa. Traveling with my family to explore new cultures brings me so much joy. And all business class travel can make it even better with their top-notch personalized service. Use promo code SAVVY, that's SAVVY, to get complimentary Black Car Airport transfers. All business class travel makes it easy to focus on what really matters, cherished memories. Visit allbusinessclass.com and start planning your next incredible journey. And, I agree with that, because I think we take our strength for granted because we don't maybe always have to use it. But if we focus on it and try to really dive deep, dig deep, and try to find that strength in those dark times, I think we all have, the ability to do that. So coming out of all of this, you were inspired to create I'm Too Busy TV. Can you speak to that?
Yes. Okay. So it started with my friend Berlin Fisher, who was on NBC as a beauty expert, was going to become a host. And so he needed to find a replacement. So he picked me. And I'm like, absolutely not. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm a behind the camera girl. I am so not. And he goes, look, first of all, you need to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And this is all you know. You don't even need to think. Like you're going to do everything. This is easy. And so that gave me so much confidence because it is really hard to do live TV. It is terrifying. It's not lovely like this that we're just sitting here chatting. It's like you're doing something on air and it's like you have a few minutes and you can't say fuck.
Yeah,
like it's
it's stressful.
Yeah, it's very stressful. You have to,
I'm stressed for you right now.
I know, believe me.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of other segments that I've done. So it gave me I started getting really comfortable in front of the camera, which I never thought would happen. I went on The View like a million years ago. I was shaking. Aww. I remember just trembling like this is so awful. Like how is anyone comfortable with a camera in their face? And thank God after doing all these podcasts and doing the NBC thing, I've gotten comfortable in front of the camera. And so I got contacted by this Bold Brave TV in New York. They sent me an email and I honestly thought it was a joke. They're like, well, we've been watching you for a while and, we are so impressed with everything you're doing. And I'm like, what? They're like, we'd like to offer you your own show. And I'm like, okay, this is hilarious. I'm like, this can't be real.
I love it.
They're like, will you just have a call with us? And I'm like, okay. So anyway, we started that and they've trained me how to do it because, as you and I were talking about before, I didn't know what to do. And, my producer's in New York. We call in and with a link and it's audio and video, and it's and again live TV. I can't make a mistake. Yeah. I mean, I do.
Right. I mean, but you're a human.
Yes. Yeah. And so that's how I started. I'm Too Busy, and now I'm on this other. I'm on another network as well with it, and I always thought like, God, I have the best job because I get to have Condoleezza Rice to myself for a day,
right?
Or Hilary Swank or Rita Moreno, all these incredible people. Like, how cool would that be to interview them? And so I've started out with. I haven't started out with a lot of celebrities. I've had some that I know, but I wanted to really start getting really comfortable doing this show before I've asked Zach Posen or Tyler Florence or whoever to be on my show because, it's kind of a big deal to ask someone's time. And these people are insanely busy, but everyone is so busy, men and women. And so I love the title of, my show, I'm Too Busy, because everyone can relate. And then I love hearing about people. Everyone has a story, whether they're famous or not. They have like, how do you have balance in your life? I mean, it's like the questions you ask me, like, was your road always bumpy or was it smooth? How did you get to where you are? So I think it's super interesting to talk to people and I'm very curious and I love it. And then I wanted to start a new makeup line. I have Pretty Girl, but I thought I'm Too Busy is perfect because I have heard for 25 years, people telling me, oh my gosh, I go to the department store to buy makeup and I get talked into buying all this stuff that I don't know how to use and I don't use. It's not appropriate for my lifestyle. And how are you going to have brand loyalty when you're selling people things that they don't need?
Right.
So I've created this line. I mean, it hasn't even launched yet, but it is going to be literally what you need. Brows, eyes, cheek, and lip. And then we're going to do, there's a million fantastic skincare lines out in the world, but there's a lot of them have a lot of steps. People are lazy. They really are. They have a 10-step process or whatever. They'll do it 2 days and, I'll do it tomorrow. Then they don't do it. And consistency is everything, especially with skincare. So I worked with a beauty chemist in New York who created the setting spray for Urban Decay. Like he's amazing. So we have a 3-step process and it's good on men and it's good on women. And so we're doing a reverse cleansing, which do you drink the water? My chemist asked me this. Do you drink the water that you wash your face with? I'm like, my God, no.
No, definitely not.
No. And he's like, so why do you put it on your face? I'm like, well, what's the option? He goes, well, we are going to do a reverse cleansing, which is we put the cleanser and the moisturizer on first, then rinse the skin. So that it doesn't.
That's interesting.
Right. So it doesn't dry. I mean, think about it. If you go into a pool or the ocean or even, washing your face with, just water, doesn't it feel tight and dry? Well, because there's not the barrier. So we have the barrier. And then the third step is protection. So
like a sunscreen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a sunscreen.
Yeah. It's like a vitamin C sunscreen.
So when can my listeners expect
I'm hoping,
to see this
I had
out
a big
in the
call
world?
Today. We're getting investors because my American Express can only go so far.
Yeah.
and it's different now. There's so much more involved with a line. It's not just creating it. You need to pay influencers. You have to pay for market. There's so many things that you don't know until you know. And so it's interesting. Tyler has this saying that, if anyone knew how goddamn hard it was to be exceptional, no one would do anything.
Right.
But it's better that you don't know. But now that I do know that I can't compete with these brands without funding. I just can't. It's impossible. So that's
I love that you have this passion for beauty that goes so far to want to put these beautiful beauty lines back into the world. And, I'm Too Busy as a title is so great and really encapsulates our conversation, because people always say they're too busy to exercise, to get good sleep, to give back. I hear that all the time in my work with philanthropy, that I just don't have the time to, or I'm too busy. I'm just too busy.
It's like, you know what, you just have to decide. And it's also like with nutrition, and I forgot to mention this earlier. I think people will make, and I know this for myself, I will make a healthy food choice if it's available to me. So there's a little bit of planning going involved here. I always have hard-boiled eggs, raw almonds, cheese sticks. I make my green juice, which is now, I call it swamp juice because it's like purple, because I have beet and broccoli and blueberry and power greens and celery and all this stuff in it.
Sounds delicious.
It is, but I make enough of it for like 3 days, and I put it in mason jars. So it's ready. There's no excuse not to have it. And so when I'm hungry, like, I'll have it first thing in the morning before I eat. Midday, I'll have it with like a handful of raw almonds. So I never get to the point that I'm famished. I'll have raw almonds in the car. And so it's very easy, especially because I work with all these chefs, that there's all this, I'm on top of, craft catering. I don't touch it. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to just sugars crack. At least it is for me. So if I eat one cookie, I'm going to eat 15.
And you mentioned something earlier about, when you're not hydrated or not nourished or not getting enough sleep, you really aren't putting your best foot out there.
Right.
You're not able to give the energy to your job or your kids or yourself that you deserve. So, I think that's super important too, is to kind of, again, go back to that self-care. And then,
it's so important. And you know what? It's like, also, you want to show your kids, if you want your kids to have healthy lives and healthy relationships, well, we have to, it's not us saying, no, saying the words. They have to see us doing it. One of my daughters had said to me, she wrote me in a Christmas card once, or Mother's Day card, you know what? It's not the lectures that you've given that have made an impact. It's how you conduct yourself, how you treat people, your work ethic, how you deal with bumpy times in life with grace and dignity. And so I was shocked.
It's beautiful.
I was really thrilled that she thought that, but I also thought, wow, that really is important. So the gift that I can give my kids is my work ethic, my healthy lifestyle, being in healthy, happy relationships. Because if we're not in a healthy, happy relationship, how are our kids going to have one if they don't see us in one? If your marriage, the problem when we have kids is that the whole focus goes from our husband to our kids. And when it actually should be the opposite. My husband used to say, there's a frame, and he and I have to be in the frame, and everyone else is on the outside of the frame. Because the best thing that we can show our kids is a healthy, happy marriage. Because it really affects them, but it's also going to affect their future relationships with, girlfriends, boyfriends, or whatever in life. So all these things, we don't even realize how important they are, really do affect them.
Yeah, we are truly their greatest teacher and their greatest example. And so we have to be really aware of that in all aspects, especially showing them our relationships with our partners, Speaking of all these things that you do, so you have I'm Too Busy TV, you have your makeup line, you're a mom, like you do all this philanthropy. How do you make it all fit into the day? Like, how do you do this?
Well, I don't do everything every day. So I wish I could do everything every day. So, I try to also just be okay with what I get done in a day. I have learned, I am really hard, and we're all hard on ourselves, but I'm just like, I got as much done today as I can. Like some days I will be working on my company. Other days I'm on a shoot, or I'm getting ready for my show. I just try to do the best I can do with the time I have, and be, I've learned to have to be kinder to myself. I think that's one thing I've learned also, is learning to be nice to myself. Like my girlfriend, my best friend Diana said this to me. She's like, you know what? You would never treat another human the way you treat you. And I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, you are so mean to you. I'm like, I am? Like, it's a habit. You know how like we just be like, oh, I'm so dumb. I'm so, no, you cannot say these words. They are impactful and they affect us. So we have to be very mindful of the words that we use about ourselves and obviously others. But I've learned to be like, go, you know what? You did a good job today. Like, good job. And
I love that. I honestly like want to reiterate that to the listeners because it's not just how we speak to other people. It's how we speak to ourselves and how we see ourselves. And I think that makes us beautiful inside and out as well. People can tell when we feel good and love ourselves.
It's very true. And then also think about it. Who wants to be around someone that has like, that speaks so negatively at all or about themselves? It doesn't makes people uncomfortable. I mean, I don't think you need to be arrogant or like, oh, I'm so great.
Of course.
But just don't beat the crap out of yourself in front of,
Yeah.
I mean, I think our minds are so powerful. Like we have to tell ourself positive things. And I do a lot of affirmations every day in sets of 3. I'm successful, I'm grounded, I'm determined, I'm healthy, I'm happy, I'm loved, I'm grateful, I'm wealthy. I say that 3 times a day. I accept and expect miracles. The universe loves me. I say all these different things. I'm love, I'm light. And when I'm not feeling fantastic, I will say affirmations until I do feel okay, because I have to use my powers for good. And if I'm in it, and then check like, okay, am I hungry? Am I tired? Am I thirsty? What am I? Say some, affirmations till I feel okay. Sometimes like when my day's not flowing, okay, I need to go outside and take a little walk with the dog or get my nails, do something.
Yes.
Sometimes it's just not flowing and you need to just like go.
Yeah, you need to change
else.
course. You need to change course.
Like I don't know about you, but like when I'm in my office, I have like, there's always flowers. I have a candle lit. I always have a cup of tea. I have classical music playing in the background. And I really am visual. So I like things to be, I'm not obsessive, but I like things to be tidy and look pretty because it'll make me want to stay in that room. Because I know I need to stay in this office or stay wherever I'm working. And if it's a mess and yucky, I'm distracted thinking about, oh gosh, I should clean up that pile or organize that instead of focusing on what I actually need to focus on.
I mean, when we're in a calm space like that, when we create a calm and clean and simple and beautiful space, that's kind of how our mind is then. We bring that into our being by doing that. If we're in a cluttered, crazy, loud, that's what we're going to put out into.
Right. And that's why
world.
like I tell people like, with their cars, keep your car clean. You're in it a lot. So energetically, whatever space you're around, you're going to absorb it. So even when my kids were little and I have 100 of them, my car was always clean. Yeah. Like I didn't let there just be like, Cheetos on the floor and, a mess. I taught my kids to keep it clean. Now my sons, on the other hand, like their cars, like it's like a closet. They've got
I have a son too, and his room is something to be said.
Yeah. But like I've taught my kids. I heard this thing a million years ago. You probably heard it too. It was like this guy was giving a commencement speech. He was like a Navy SEAL. And the first thing he said to do every day, make your bed.
Oh, I loved that. I saw
you know that
too.
one?
Yes.
Wasn't that great?
Oh, I thought
love
it was amazing. I don't know why it's so simple and we all don't think about it. How important that one little step. Yes.
Because like I have a bunch of, I'm sure you do too. My bed has like 25 pillows. Yes. And I can't, first of all, if I'm working from home, I like my bed made and everything clean because I don't want to be going, oh God, I got to go make the bed. Oh, I got to go dishes. I've got to, it's just something I do. And then I always look at it and go, oh, that looks pretty. And then when I get into bed at night, it's something that it's inviting to me. It's not just like rumpled sheets and a mess. So
yeah, and I think that his other point by saying that was just to create these habits.
Yes,
these habits, like you've mentioned this whole time we've been together. Creating these really, really positive habits that have ripple effects throughout your day matter. And when you start doing that, something as simple as making your bed, then maybe you'll eat better. Maybe you'll sleep better. Maybe you'll feel like today is your day. You're going to give back to those in need or the people around you.
Right.
I think it just, like I said, it creates those ripples in your life.
I did a shoot with a woman and I can't remember her name right now, but she was a writer and we did a photo shoot for her book. And it was like a self-help book. But what she said was every day when you wake up, before you get out of bed, stretch a little bit. But she said, say hello to yourself and say, I love you. good morning, Christina. I love you. We're going to have a good day. Because that's the first positive thought in your head is how your day is going to go. And so I do that every day. And again, it's these little habits that I try to do because I want to be the best version of me because I have so much to do. I want to do my philanthropic work. I want to work on my show. If I am not in a good headspace, it's impossible. It would be so distracting if I was constantly thinking about everything else I have to do. So it makes my life easier doing these things, if that makes sense.
It absolutely does. And I agree because I make it a priority in my own life to feel good so that I can do all the things that I want to do and show up for my kids.
Right.
And my husband the way that I want to show up for them and not be tired and mad and irritated and distracted. And so I think that, making sure I'm the best self I can be is huge.
I mean, also like just think about it, like for, we spoke about this earlier, but the greatest gift for our kids is a good relationship. Well, what does that entail? It means treating your husband like your boyfriend.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
It means that that there's dinner made. And I know this sounds like so archaic, but honestly, sit down and have family dinner. Make sure that you're like, I'll be baseball hat, look like a mess, but before my husband passed away, like I would make sure that he came home and I looked somewhat together because it creates positivity. It makes everyone like happy, and you want a good relationship. Well, you have to put work into it.
Yeah, I agree with that. In any relationship, like your kids, like your husband, I think it's not archaic in that you're just showing him that you love any partner, that you love them, and that you went just a little extra mile to kind of demonstrate that to them.
And then they're going to do the same thing.
Totally.
So, you want your husband to show up and be clean and tidy. Well, start the cycle.
Yes.
Someone has to do it.
Someone has to do it. And I will say usually it is the woman, but I think women should embrace that and say to themselves, you know what, even if I'm the one who starts.
Opportunity.
Yes.
It's not I have to, I get to do this.
Yeah. And to be honest, if there's so many lessons that came out of our discussion today, but you'd probably do anything for one more day with your husband.
Of course.
And so I think while they're here, and like you said, no time is
you don't know how long
guaranteed. Let's make the best out of the time that we have with everyone, not just our husbands or boyfriends or our kids, our friends, I
think that's been like kind of the ripple effect for me of losing my mom, my son, my husband, my business partner, two of my best girlfriends is anytime I leave anyone, love you, see you later. I always make sure I tell everyone I love them, and because I don't know how long I have with anybody, and none of us do. So I would never want anyone to leave this world thinking I didn't love them or think they were special. And
I would encourage everyone, and I've said this on the podcast before, to really tell the people in your life, even just on a regular day that you leave them from lunch, that you love them, that you were happy that you were at lunch. Like sometimes it's hard for people to verbalize that, but I would just encourage everyone to get used to doing that because
that's another good habit.
It matters. It matters
because you don't want that guilt later of, oh my God, why didn't I make the effort to see that person? Why didn't I say I love them more? Why? You don't want that guilt. Thank God I don't have that guilt from my husband dying or my son.
Right.
Because I did say it, after my son died, then my husband died. So by the time I was married to my husband, I would always tell him, oh, love your face. Come here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that there's a blessing in everything, even though we don't always feel like it. Sometimes we think this is happening to me. Sometimes they're happening for you. Not that my husband or my son dying happened for me, but from that, I can choose. Well, my lesson from that is time is precious and people are precious and we want them to know that we love them and care. So that has been the blessing. And getting comfortable being uncomfortable. It's, I mean, that feeling you get before we're like, oh, I can't do that. I'm scared. Well, now I know that feeling is going to lead to something great because that it's excited. I'm like, instead of going, oh, I can't. Well, I did do it. I did start doing this show and the NBC thing. And it's given me a confidence and a peace that I didn't even know I could actually possess.
Hey friends, it's Melissa. I want to talk to you about something that has been life-changing for me, therapy. I've personally used therapy, and I can tell you firsthand how powerful it is to have someone in your corner guiding you through life's challenges. That's why I'm proud that today's sponsor is BetterHelp, an online therapy service that makes it easy to get the help you or your family needs from the comfort of your own home. Whether you're struggling with stress, anxiety, or just need someone to talk to, BetterHelp is here for you. And for listeners of the Savvy Giving Gal podcast, you'll get 10% off your first month of therapy when you use our link in the description. Take that step towards a healthier you because you're worth it. Visit betterhelp.com/savvy to get started today. I literally, Christina, could talk to you all day. This is so fun. Our conversation has really touched my heart today. I ask my guests these 3 questions at the end of every episode. So first, what does it mean to you to be a community change maker?
It means that from whatever talents or whatever thing I can give back, it's part of my duty. You can't just have this position in the world and not give back and help others, because it makes me feel good. It makes the other person feel good. You know, I think it's a total blessing all the way around.
Yeah. Beautiful ripple effects that you've created with all of these different things that you do. And second, how has giving back positively affected your mental, emotional, and physical health?
I think it's, especially during the grieving process, I think it really helped me to help other people. It made me feel good when I wasn't feeling good. I was feeling sad and lonely and, terrible. So if I could help others, that was like something that made me feel good. And it was almost like a drug, like, oh, I want to do more of that because it makes me feel good to help others. Like, I can't tell you how many phone calls and emails I got from people telling me that, they thought their person had sepsis. And I'm like, get to the hospital immediately. And I've gotten calls from people that they were saved because they heard me speak on all these podcasts. And so that makes me feel good to make the world a better place. Like, why wouldn't I want to do that?
And energized, really deep down, an energy that brings to you in your life and how you walk through the world. So I love that. And can you suggest one small act of kindness our listeners can incorporate in their daily lives?
Smile at somebody, just be 1% better every day. And, treat people the way you want to be treated. Like, do random acts of kindness. Why not?
Love random acts of kindness. Yes.
Put some coins in the machine or something for someone's parking or gifts. I don't know. It's like, it's a double gift. It's the gift you give someone, but it's the gift you get back that you made someone feel good. It's a really great feeling.
It really is. I always say that, mostly about myself, that I give all the time, but really it's selfish because
it is. I think it makes
me feel so good.
Yeah,
that
like I feel bad that I feel
a little selfish, but even though I'm doing something for other people. And so I would encourage everyone to do that because I think you'll be surprised at how you feel after you do it.
Generosity is a really beautiful thing. And it's not just a monetary gift. It's like giving someone time or like, helping someone out. Like we don't realize sometimes, after my husband died, it was so shocking to me that random strangers showed up at my door with food or offered to help me do stuff. Like, it's really it's such a great thing to see other people like giving of themselves when they really didn't have to.
I think that one of the most beautiful things about this podcast for me has been able to sit down with people like you and just see how you've impacted so many people in this world. And I hope that everyone is encouraged today by Christina's story and you go out and just smile and, be generous. And so can you share with the listeners where they can find you and all of your amazing businesses and your TV show and all the things?
Okay. Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for having me today. You can find me at ChristinaFlach.com. And you can go to I'm Too Busy TV to see our shows. And it's on Spotify and YouTube, all the different platforms. And then Pretty Girl Makeup, prettygirlmakeup.com.
Okay, I love it. I'm just going to leave the listeners with a couple tips from our episode today. So Christina highlights the importance of lifting others up. Empowered women empower communities. Beauty starts with how we feel about ourselves. Christina encourages focusing on your physical and emotional well-being by practicing gratitude, maintaining a healthy lifestyle, and celebrating your individuality. When you nurture your inner self, it radiates outward. Life's tragedies can be a powerful catalyst for change. Christina transforms her personal pain into a mission of raising awareness about sepsis, demonstrating that even in the face of heartbreak, you can create a platform to help others and inspire positive action. Christina, I'm so grateful that you shared your story today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was really a pleasure. I could chat with you all day.
I loved it.
We'll do it again.
We will.
Coming to fill up my cup.
Thank you for listening to the show. I hope it sparks a desire in you to dedicate even a small slice of your life to uplifting others. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. Follow me on Instagram at SavvyGivingGal. You can also visit my website at SavvyGivingGal.com. Let's spread positivity together.